Tonight, Jim and Tammy Faye Baker join us to tell their side of the story in their first live TV interview since leaving the PTL ministry. Have you heard of the prosperity gospel? I didn't grow up with that concept. Probably in the 80s when the whole Jim and Tammy Faye Baker thing just kind of imploded, actually somewhat near where I lived, because I was in Concord, North Carolina, and so I believe it was outside of Charlotte where all that was going on. Heritage USA, I think it was called. Don Henley actually calls it, Six Flags Over Jesus, so I'm sorry, I kind of like that. I think that's kind of fun. When that kind of imploded, and I mean, Jim Baker went to jail. I don't know what happened with Tammy Faye. I wish her well, but anyway, way too much makeup for me. That's just craziness. But anyway, I wanted to, just as a Christian, I want to be like, hey, I'm not that kind of Christian, right? And I'm like far away from those people. And if we interpret the prosperity gospel that way, right? And then we just think about televangelist and that kind of thing. Oh, they have too much money. They have, estates and planes and all this kind of stuff. But if we think about it more as provisional, like God promises to take care of us. Okay, what does that mean? Does that mean, He's just going to give us, water and bread and a tent? And that technically covers, right, our needs. So is that all that we're supposed to get? Is that all we can expect, as Christians? Now, again, can you go to places like, missionaries and have very little and agree to live that way because that's what you're called to? You want to go there and you want to do that for God and sacrifice. Okay, of course you can. But I don't think that's a requirement of being a Christian. Otherwise, Jesus would have told everyone, like he did with the rich young ruler, everyone has to give up all wealth, or else you can't be a Christian. Now, does God call some people to do that? Yes, he does. Just like he called the rich young ruler to do that. And sadly, he went away because he had great riches. So he didn't take Jesus up on his offer. But I think sometimes people like myself who are not wealthy, and even people who have more wealth than I do, but they aren't like rich. They're not Jim and Tammy Faye wealthy. They don't have giraffe money.
Michael Jackson got giraffe money. Mike got so much money, he done bought 2 giraffes. You don't even know who to call to check on the giraffe.
They start pointing fingers. I used to do this. We kind of look, okay, well, this guy has a lot of money, this pastor, whatever, okay, he has this big estate. Either I should have more or he should have less. Or, that guy shouldn't have all that, and neither should I. None of us should have anything. We should all be, again, some bread and water and a tent, basically, a covering. Now, that's not what God says about our lives and how he blesses it, but I think that some of us make those kind of judgment calls, as I did. Okay, I was guilty of this also. I deemed that God should bless everyone on this level, this comfort level that I deemed acceptable, right? Okay, now, again, who died and left me the determiner of everybody's wealth? Okay, that's not for me to decide. And I thought, of course, and the ones usually making this judgment call and pointing the fingers, just like me, usually will say, I'm not greedy, right? The really nice neighborhood where they measure your grass.
Your sign says the grass is supposed to be 2 inches, and according to my measuring stick, yours is 2.5.
Where they measure your grass height. I'm not greedy, but those people, those Christians that live like that, they have way more than they need, right? I have only what I need. And then I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. No, I have a lot more than I need. I mean, let's think about it. I mean, there are people that lived in sheer poverty. I mean, just awful. I mean, dirt floors, huts, people, the kind of people that have to walk, miles, okay, just to get water. And we're not talking about, nice water from Whole Foods that I go get in my nice little, gallon jugs that I save. I jump in my car to fill just for drinking, right? Okay, no, these people are getting this water that's not even necessarily clean, okay, to do everything with. I mean, anything and everything you want to do with water, they have to go walk miles one way, just one way, to get it and then carry it back. I mean, we're so lazy here. I am too. I mean, okay, we're just really spoiled, right? And, okay, so I came to the conclusion that I'm I definitely have more than I need, but not too much, right? Not too much. I don't have too much. I don't live in a palatial estate. Okay, I don't live in a mansion. Okay. So how much exactly is too much, right?
How much stuff do you need to be happy? I don't know. How much stuff is there?
Seriously though, what defines that acceptable level? Okay, how do you know that? I think that you have to walk with the Lord in that, by the Spirit. I think He speaks to you. If wealth is consuming you, I think He's going to ask you to give it up, or at least give a lot of it up, like He did the rich young ruler. If wealth has you, and you don't have the wealth, I think God's going to ask you, hey, you're worshiping mammon, right? So I think, by the same token, you can be poor, you can be destitute, and you could be buying a lottery ticket every day because you're obsessed with being wealthy. So mammon has still got you, the earthly pull of riches and money has still got your focus, not Christ. And that's a problem. So I think that that's what God wants to speak to us here. Anyway, just wrap this up because this is a holiday week and I am quite busy with family. But just to wrap this up, I wrecked a minivan years ago. It was a very minimal wreck. I just kind of bumped into somebody from behind at a light. But anyway, the point is nobody was hurt. I didn't get raised insurance rates. I didn't get a ticket. But my van, unfortunately, was totaled. I mean, it didn't take much, I guess, to the crumple zones or whatever, And it was an older van, so the insurance was like, yeah, that's not worth much. And they gave us a check, but, you didn't get much for that. And so I thought, great. So my husband was like, well, let's go see if we can find another van like it for parts. And then since he has mechanics in his family, we'll try to fix it, right? I remember the day we went to look at that van, and oh my gosh, my poor children were in the car with us, and they cried. They was like, please don't buy that. It's so awful. Can't we get a new, van or whatever? And of course, girls, we don't have the money to buy a nice van. This is all we've got from our check. And I thought to myself, I don't deserve anything better anyway, right? I'm the one who had the stupid wreck because I wasn't paying attention. But you know what? God just surprised me. And it's one of the many times in my life, I should remember by now, right? That he's such a good father and He wants to bless us even when we're stupid and we do dumb things. I'm not saying He rewards sin. I'm just saying God takes care of us. He really does. He loves us. And it's not because we do everything right. We had one more van to look at that wasn't trash. And it was actually nicer than the van we had. It was a little older, and so he couldn't get as much for it. But it was in great condition. In fact, better condition than the one that I wrecked. Everything on it worked. It was a nicer, it was like a higher level of van, than I had. And so it had more luxury stuff on it, I think it had working air and ours didn't. And, like a CD player. I mean, it had nice stuff in it, and everything was working. I had like new tires, and so it was actually a nicer van that I ended up with than what I had. Oh, and lower miles. It was crazy. So it was just a beautiful blessing of God. And God doesn't change, from the old into the new covenant. He blesses those who put their faith in Him. Right? It's not about your doing. Even in the old covenant, yes, He did say that if you obeyed, He would bless you, but at the end of the day, you still had to put your faith in Him because He is the one from whom all blessings flow. We're not to focus on material gain again, but God doesn't just cover the basic necessities. He blesses us. Our generous Daddy, Abba Father, makes sure that every area, if we want it, now, you don't have to have it. You can go, no, I don't want blessing. Okay, fine. And then, you know what, you still want the stuff, so you go out and get it yourself and then credit yourself with it. See, God doesn't want that. He wants you to lean into Him in every area. He wants you to go out to get the seed, but count on Him that it's going to be there when you get there. Not to worry, not to be anxious about it like the birds. Go collect it. but know it's from his hand. That's what he wants. We also want to make sure that we mention Shauna Payne's designer brand t-shirts. That's right, reasonably priced. Check her out. I've got her information here with a link in the description as how you can get in touch with her. And also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet to my YouTube channel. And I appreciate your support on Patreon if you'd like. Thanks a lot. So I'll end with this. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen.